I've labelled this review Smell Good on the Fly, and that is exactly what these 8 fragrances will do. They will make you smell good when you're busy, when you don't want to overthink anything, when you don't want to overcomplicate anything. Grab one of these and you will smell good on the fly. Stay tuned. What is good, YouTube? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikey Cologne, and if you're tuned in, as always, thank you very much for doing so. If you're new here and you're stopping by for the first time and you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button and press the bell because it will notify you when I upload a review. Right, I've got 8 fragrances to go through today. Some of these are a little bit older. There's a newer one on the list, and I've tried to keep the price low. These are not all complete cheapies, but none of these are expensive fragrances. So to me, these are inexpensive. There is a couple of cheaper ones on the list. I was thinking about budget and smelling good. That is the aim, the name, the game of this review. Smell good on the fly, and like I say, try and keep the cost low. I'm going to start off with a new fragrance, and it is from the house of Hugo Boss, and it is Boss Bottled Alexia. Right, some of you might be thinking, hang on a minute, I thought you're keeping the price low. You can pick this up, I believe, for about £60 in the UK for a 50ml, and it is worth that money. If you want to wait a little bit longer, it might be at discounters, but I think you can pick this up, like I say, for around about £60 if you look. So we're going to get into it. This is a 50ml bottle, Eau de Parfum concentration. I believe it's Eau de Parfum concentration. I'm actually not sure. I don't know if it's Parfum or Eau de Parfum. The more I've worn this, the more it's grown on me. Straight away, I'm going to say this. Maybe when I first smelt this, I wasn't too excited about it, and maybe I was expecting a little bit more, but the more I've worn this, it has definitely grown on me more and more. It started off okay, it turned into a like, and now I'm actually really enjoying the scent. Oh, and it is good. Right, you got frankincense, incense, cardamom, vetiver, patchouli, cedarwood, labdanum, absolute. Straight away, you get a blast of that cardamom. It adds the spice. But to me as well, I think that cardamom pushes a very light touch of freshness into the fragrance up top. Alongside that cardamom is the frankincense. Warm, balsamic, a touch smoky, and a little bit sweet. But that sweetness in his fragrance always lingers in the back. It never becomes too sweet. Once that opening calms down, the cedar comes in with the vetiver, and you can't really tell it's vetiver, so to speak. It's more of just like a woodsy nuance that creeps in. That little bit of freshness that you got up top, that is completely gone. The spice has calmed down a little bit, and the fragrance is now warmed up. So now it's a little bit spicy, woodsy, balsamic. And then when you get into the mid through to the dry down, that labdanum sort of turns that balsamic sweetness into this ambery, a touch resinous. So now it's woodsy, warm, a little resinous, ambery and woodsy. And that is basically how the fragrance sits. When you get into the base, that spice is nearly gone. But the incense is with this fragrance all the way through. From opening to mid to dry down, the frankincense to me is the star of the show, and it does smell very nice. Like I say, it has grown on me the more that I've worn this fragrance. It deserves to be on this list, because if you want to smell good on the fly, this will make you do it. Definitely. Anyway, that is Boss Bottled Alexia from the house Hugo Boss. It is a very nice scent. Up next, we have one from the house of Mont Blanc, and it is Explorer. Yes, You can get this at a great price now, especially on discounters. And there's no doubt about it, the DNA of this fragrance is very likeable, mass appealing, and it has similarities to Creed's Aventus. This does smell good. I remember when I first bought this, I was so hyped. Like, I blind bought this ages ago, sprayed it on, and I was like, man, this smells good. And then it instantly reminded me of Creed's Aventus. And it does get compared to that fragrance. I'm not saying they tried to completely clone it or knock it off, but it is good. Right, you've got bergamot, pepper, sage, vetiver, leather and sandalwood, and then you've got patchouli, amber fix and akigadwood in the base. Right, let's spray it. When this first opens up, it opens up citrusy, fresh, very soft, spicy and fruity. There is no fruits listed in this fragrance. You've got the bergamot, which is a citrus, and you do get that. But they must be using some type of molecules or aroma chemicals to give this fragrance that fruity touch, which Aventus has. So citrusy, fruity, soft, spicy, fresh. Once it dries down, it starts getting woodsy, but the bergamot is still there. At this stage, that fruity facet that you get up top has calmed right down, but the fragrance stays fresh. You do get aromatic touches with this from the sage, so it gives it this manly, masculine vibe. So it's fresh, fruity, soft, spicy, woodsy, aromatic, and then it just dries down. And as it dries down, it becomes, I get little touches of smoke and a very faint touch of this earthy facet that comes in the dry down. But apart from that, the fragrance doesn't really change much from mid to dry down, but that's okay because this is a mass appealing scent profile and it is very likable. Like, this is so versatile. Gym, office, if you're going out for drinks on a colder day, on a warmer day, you can literally wear this in any occasion. Smell good on the fly. This will do it. I think I get about 6 to 7 hours with it. It's moderate. Scent profile wise though, if you do enjoy Creed Aventus and you haven't tried this yet, get your paws on it because I think you would enjoy it. Anyway, that is Mont Blanc Explorer. Up next, we have one for cooler days or cooler evenings. If you're going out on a date, if you're going out for drinks, if you're going out for dinner. The Tux from Maison Alhambra. This is a clone of the Tuxedo by Yves Saint Laurent. Does it smell good? Yes. And I think you can pick this up for about £30 at the minute in the UK. And that is a steal. Right. When it comes to the note breakdown, I've found all different note breakdowns for this fragrance. So I'm just going to read you a few of the notes that I found that I think resembles the scent that I'm getting from the fragrance. You've got bergamot, coriander seeds, rose, lily of the valley, black pepper, ambergris, patchouli and vanilla. Right, this opens up. I do get a subtle fresh blast up top. Literally, it's there and then it's gone, and then the fragrance turns warm, sweet. It almost comes across like this ambery, balsamic sweetness because you've got that warmth in the fragrance. To me, that's how it comes across. The coriander, I'm getting something herbal in this. I don't know if that is the patchouli or the coriander, but I'm definitely getting this herbal touch that's lurking in the back. The rose I pick up, and it's more of a stemmy, earthy rose, not sweet and jammy. Definitely get some spice up top, but after a few minutes, that spice settles. Like, this is not a full-on spicy fragrance. There is some in the first couple of minutes of this fragrance, but it soon levels out, and then it just warms up. Like I say, that herbal nuance I'm getting becomes present. It is a nice fragrance. The patchouli in this is more of a dark, woodsy patchouli with a little bit of sweetness. Not so I don't really get that chocolate cakey vibe from the patchouli here. It's more woodsy and sweet. I'm going to say it again. If you're looking for a nice going out fragrance that smells attractive and you are on a budget, try this fragrance. It does smell really good. Yeah, it does. It's not the longest lasting. It's moderate for me. Sometimes I've worn it, I've got 5.5 hours. Other times I've got 7 hours. So I don't know if it's how warm or cold your skin is, but that definitely does play a part when I rock this fragrance. But anyway, this is a great scent. The Tux from Maison Alhambra. I had to put a sandalwood fragrance on this list. You can pick this fragrance up. If you look, sometimes you might find it for £55. Sometimes it'll be £75. So the price goes up and down with this. It is come from the House of Dunhill. And it is Indian sandalwood. Man, does this stuff smell good. If you enjoy sandalwood as a note, I guarantee you're going to enjoy this fragrance. It's not the longest lasting fragrance, but I don't care about that. Let me just spray it. Let me just remind myself of that opening. Right, you've got bergamot, green tree moss, sandalwood, patchouli, orris and carrot. Straight off the bat, you get the sandalwood, hence the name. But it's more than a sandalwood fragrance. I get a little vegetal touch up top from the carrot, which slowly dissipates after a few minutes. The sandalwood here comes across a little bit incensey at first, and then as it starts to dry down and mature, so to speak, then it starts turning creamy. There is a little bit of sweetness in the fragrance, and then that orris gives this a powdery edge. Not from the get-go, like once that vegetal opening calms down, that is when the orris comes in, and like I say, it just wraps the fragrance in this powdery, musky edge. As it dries down, you do get little snippets of the patchouli. Right, I do get very light, earthy touches in the dry down of this. So I don't know if that's coming from the orris, or if it's coming from the patchouli, or if it's coming from both. But you get the woodsiness from the sandalwood. But patchouli has a little bit of a different woodsy facet, and you do get that in this fragrance, kind of from mid to dry down. So like I say, it is more than just a sandalwood fragrance. No, it's not overly complex, but man, does it smell good. I love the way this smells. If you want to smell good on the fly and you enjoy a sandalwood fragrance, pick this one up. Some people will be disappointed in the performance. 5 hours. I have got a little bit more than 5 hours sometimes. Like I say, it all depends on how warm or cool your skin is. If you moisturise your skin, them things do play, not a big part, but they do play a part in the longevity of fragrances. There is no doubt about that. But anyway, this is Indian sandalwood from the House of Dunhill. If you haven't checked this out already, get your paws on it, sample it and see what you think. I have another one coming from the House of Maison Alhambra. They crush it with some of their clones. They really do. Their value for money on their fragrances, they are great. I do not know how they do it. I'm going to stop rambling. It is lovely sherry. This is a clone dupe inspired by a fragrance of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. This thing smells great. It is unisex leaning femme because it's a cherry fragrance. I don't know if every bloke wants to walk around smelling like cherry. But again, it's more than that. You do get little changes here and there. Let me spray it. And then I'll read you the notes. And then I'll go through the fragrance. Right, you've got cherry liqueur, black cherry, bitter almonds, griotti syrup, Turkish rose, jasmine samba, pearl balsam, roasted tonka bean, sandalwood, vetiver and cedar. And yet again, there is a couple of different note breakdowns that I found for this, but I'm going to stick with this one. Right, it opens up. Straight away, you know you're going to get cherry. And it is a dark cherry. The almond gives this fragrance, this creamy facet. So it opens up with this sweet, dark, creamy cherry. After a few minutes, I do get a very light nuttiness. Very light. With that, this jammy rose comes in. But again, the rose is sitting at the back. Front centre, this fragrance is all about the cherry. All these notes that I'm getting, they're all just flowing through the back. When you get into the mid, I start getting this woodsy touch. Again, very light. And then in the base, or once it goes from mid to base, you get the warmth and the sweetness from the cherry. But I do get a little bit of a balsamic touch in there. So it's dark, creamy, sweet, slightly nutty, a little bit of a jammy rose, woodsy. I think it smells great. I love wearing this. I wish you could see how much is in this, because I haven't had this for that long. And I reckon this is an 80ml bottle and it is Eau de Parfum concentration. I reckon I've worn about 30ml of this fragrance. I love it that much. I wear it to bed sometimes just because the way it smells and the way it comes across, like it goes creamy. It does smell very nice. Right, quickly as well. The cherry liqueur. I wouldn't say this is a boozy fragrance, but there's little snippets of it in there. It's more about that dark cherry than the cherry liqueur. But once it dries down, I do get little subtle touches, ever so slightly, not of a boozy nature, so to speak. But I'm going to say it again, great. I think you can pick this up for about £30 in the UK, so it's inexpensive. And this will have you smelling great if you enjoy cherry as a note. And that is lovely sherry from the house of Maison Alhambra. Another newer release. It is coming from the house of Halloween. It is Halloween Man Mystery. It is their newest release. At first, it's another one. I thought, yeah, it's okay. And do you know what? I'm actually really enjoying this fragrance. It does smell very nice. And I think you can pick this up for about £35 in the UK. Inexpensive again. And this will definitely have you smelling good. The scent profile of this is mass appealing. Very easy to wear and versatile. We'll get into it. Right, you've got mandarin orange, black pepper, lavender, cosmo fruit, geranium, hazelnut, Indonesian patchouli, and then normal patchouli and vetiver in the base. So this opens up fresh, spicy, citrusy, semi-sweet. After a few minutes, that citrusy facet that you got up top starts turning fruity from that cosmo fruit accord that this fragrance has. It starts out citrusy, and then as it dries down a bit, it starts turning fruity. As it dries down, the spice that it seems to amp up. This does have an aromatic side to it. I nearly get the lavender from the get-go. Like literally after about 30 seconds to a minute, I can pick up on the lavender. And then dries down a bit, the geranium creeps in, so it gives it this aromatic side. And then as it dries down a bit more, the spice amps up again, and now the patchouli kicks in with the vetiver, so now it gets a woodsy undertone to it. Plus, there is a little bit of warmth there sitting in the base, which is coming from both of them patchoulis. It adds a bit of sweetness into the fragrance, a little bit of warmth, plus it gives it a bit of a woodsy backbone alongside the vetiver. This to me is a very easy fragrance to wear. Like, you do not have to overthink this at all. Again, if you want to grab something on the fly, if you just got to move quick and you need something to smell good, this will work. Office safe, gym safe. You can wear it if you're going for drinks. If you're looking half smart, if you're dressed down, you can rock this fragrance. Do not overthink it. And like I say, it's inexpensive as well. That is Halloween Man Mystery. Oh, quickly, and the longevity on this is good. 6 to 8 hours, moderate projection for the first hour and a half. Sometimes Even by the 3 hour mark, I've got a nice little scent bubble around me, and it does leave a light trail. It is good for the money, there's no doubt about it. I had to put in a fragrance from the House of Lattafa. They're another cologne house that kill it. This is Baddie Amethyst. This is inspired by a version of Initio Parfums Atomic Rose. I don't think I've smelled that fragrance. If I have, it would have been a long time ago. All I can tell you is that for what you pick this up for, if you enjoy sweet jammy rose fragrances, you are going to love this. Look at the presentation. Look at that. I think you can pick these up again for about £30–35 in the UK. 100ml bottle, eau de parfum concentration. It's got like a rubbery feel to the bottle. Obviously there's glass underneath, but it's like a rubber matting. Oh, it does smell good, and this thing performs. It's not an overly complex fragrance. It's simplistic, but that is all you need. Yeah, you get a little bit of a synthetic blast, or it is a little bit of a synthetic fragrance, but that doesn't stop the fact of it smelling good, which it does. Right, you've got pink pepper, bergamot, Turkish rose and Bulgarian rose, jasmine, oud, amber and vanilla. Straight away, this is all about that jammy rose. The Bulgarian rose to me does add a little bit of a stemmy, earthy touch to the fragrance. Everything kind of all happens at once. Opens up, you get a fresh blast, jammy rose, sweet, a little bit of a herbal, stemmy, earthy touch. Plus, you get a little bit of a rubbery nuance when it first opens up. But that only lasts for a few minutes and that dissipates. As the fragrance starts drying down, the oud is noticeable. But as it dries down, the oud comes out a little bit more. Because at first, it's about the rose. And then as it dries down, the oud starts coming through. You do get some woodsy undertones. You get a little bit of an ambery touch in this. Right, the oud in here is not skanky, it's not barnyardy, it's none of that. It literally just adds this warmth, this depth, a strong structure and a woodsy undertone. That is how the oud performs in this fragrance. And like I say, it's all about the rose. You do get vanillic touches. Plus, this does go a little bit powdery on my skin in the dry down, which I think is coming from maybe the vanilla. Simple, but very effective. And if you enjoy jammy rose fragrances and you are on a budget, give this one a go because it is very attractive. I didn't really used to enjoy jammy rose fragrances, but now I love that style of fragrance. And this one, I think I've probably got about 40ml of this left. I have rinsed this bottle. When this runs out, I will definitely be getting another one. I always want to have this in my collection, and it has a sexy edge to it as well. This would be great for date nights, cooler weather, if you're going out to a gathering. And that is Amethyst from the House of Lattafa. Great scent. I do look after you lot. I'm finishing with an inexpensive fragrance. It's coming from the House of Zara, and it is Evening Safari Drive. If you enjoy woodsy fragrances, you will appreciate this. This is £25 in the UK for 100ml, and the quality of this juice, especially for the price. I mean, just in general, the quality of the juice is great, but for the price, it makes it even better. Oh, it does smell really good. Right, you got sandalwood, eucalyptus, cypress, cedar, tonka bean and vanilla. Straight away it opens up woodsy. You get this earthy facet coming from the cypress, so it's woodsy, earthy, and there's a very faint touch of sweetness in there, plus a little bit smoky. After a minute or two, the sandalwood to my nose starts coming through, but at this stage it's still a little bit earthy, and now that eucalyptus is blended in with the cypress, so it gives this fragrance an aromatic side. So fresh, woodsy, aromatic, earthy, a touch smoky. As this starts drying down, that earthiness levels out, the smoke amps up a little bit, and then that sandalwood pushes forward. And then it starts coming across creamy, a little bit powdery, and then that sweetness has turned up a little bit. When you get into the base, or from mid to base, that is when the tonka and the vanilla really shine. They do push in a nice bit of sweetness into the fragrance. Not overly sweet, I would say semi-sweet. The sandalwood's in full swing with the cedar. The aromatics have kind of toned down a little bit, but you still can pick them up. This is a great scent. And like I say, the quality of this juice and for the price, it is a no-brainer if you enjoy woodsy, earthy, semi-sweet fragrances, because that is what this is. Nice touch of sandalwood, nice little bit of sweetness in there. This is a great fragrance. Check this one out. Right, people, there's 8 fragrances that will have you smelling great when you're busy. On the fly is like grab and go. Check any of these out. If you enjoy any of the scent profiles that I've spoken about today, I think you would appreciate one of these fragrances. Let me know which ones you own. I would love to hear your thought. And remember, smelling good's always a pleasure and never a chore. And I will definitely see you lot on the next one. Cheers.